You don't miss making new friends, and that for you has always seemed normal. You know how to talk, you know how to socialize, but you don't seek it. You don't look for it. And when someone gets too close, something in you pulls back. Many people call this maturity, and maybe it is, but there's a detail that almost no one notices. This thing you call preference. Is it really a choice? Or is it something you built without realizing? Because there's a way of living alone that is choice. You know who you are, you know what satisfies you, and you choose to have few people around because that's how you function best. And there's another way. That looks like choice, but it's protection. You've been closing yourself off slowly, and now you look and think, I built this. This is me. But maybe it's not you. Maybe it's the wall you raised to not feel certain things. On the outside, both look the same. But inside, one leaves you free, the other leaves you safe. And safety and freedom aren't the same thing. Most people never ask where this came from, when it started, why it stayed. They just look at now and think it's always been this way, but there's always an origin, there's always a moment where you decided, even without knowing you were deciding, that it was easier this way. And the question isn't whether you need more people in your life. The question is, do you know why you don't want them? Because if you don't know the difference between choosing to be alone and needing to be alone, you might be losing something while thinking you're gaining peace. This video will show you how to know. It'll give you a way to look at this without lies, without judgment, just clarity. But first, you need to see how this shows up in daily life, how it reveals itself, small, silent, almost invisible. This doesn't appear in big decisions. It appears in small refusals, every day, almost without you noticing. Someone invites you to a birthday party. You think of an excuse. You're tired. You have to wake up early. You need to finish some things. The excuse is good. It even sounds true. But notice the feeling that comes with it. If you feel you chose what you prefer, that's one thing. If you feel relief for having escaped, that's another. Relief isn't the same as satisfaction. Relief is when you avoided something that scared you. Satisfaction is when you got what you wanted. There's another moment when someone in your circle drifts away, moves to another city, gets married, has a child, and disappears from your life. You look at that and think, one less person to pay attention to. My life got simpler. Notice something else. Are you relieved because there are fewer people demanding something from you? Or are you at peace because you already have the people you need? Because fewer people can be two things. It can be clean space, or it can be less chance to get hurt. The fewer people remain, the more any new one seems like too much, seems like invasion, seems like effort that's not worth it. Then comes the third thing. You see people trying to make friends at work, in the building, at some event. You look at that and think, how artificial, how forced, how unnecessary it might actually be. Some people fake interest. Some people perform sympathy. But if everything seems artificial to you, maybe the problem isn't the people. Maybe you need it to seem artificial, because if it seems real, you'll have to respond. Responding means opening up. Opening up means risk, so you judge. Judgment protects you. Three things, three ways this shows up. All of them can be healthy choice in one person. Excessive protection in another. The same refusal, the same relief, the same judgment, but inside working in completely opposite ways. And no one sees this from the outside. Only you feel it. This is where most people get it wrong, because everything seems logical. Everything has an explanation. Everything makes sense. But is it the choice of someone who knows what they want, or protection from someone who avoids what they fear? And now comes the hardest part. The mistake almost everyone makes when trying to understand this alone. There's a mistake almost everyone makes. And that's why you can't see clearly. You look at your life, see that you don't seek new people, decide it doesn't bother you, and move on. But that question is wrong, because there are two forms of not bothering. One is when you're fine this way. Another is when you got used to this way. And getting used to something isn't the same as choosing something. Most people confuse preference with protection, because protection, when it works well, looks like preference. Seems natural, seems like you. You say, I simply prefer it this way. It might be true, it might be that you really chose this. Or it might be that this has been operating so long that you don't even remember when it started. When something becomes automatic, you stop questioning it. You start feeling like it's always been this way. But there's always an origin, there's always a moment, there's always a reason, but you don't investigate. You just look at now, and think now is who you are. There are two types of people. On the outside, they do the same thing, inside completely different. One knows who they are, knows what they need, chooses to have few people, because that's how they function best. This person can change when they want, can open up when it's worth it. The other doesn't choose, reacts, has been closing doors slowly, brick by brick, and now when someone tries to enter, the body responds before the mind. A tightness, a discomfort, a desire to end that quickly. This person doesn't have the key, has the lock. Notice something. When someone shows real interest in you, what happens inside? Do you feel calm? Or do you feel a need to get out of there? And the confusion happens because both speak the same language. Both have good arguments. Both seem mature. Both say, I know what I want. But one wants to be alone. The other needs to be alone. Want and need aren't the same thing. There's a way to know the difference, but it's not in what you say. It's in what happens inside you when you're tested. And that's what you'll see now. There are 3 forms of this working inside you, and you'll recognize at least one. The first is a type of tiredness, not physical tiredness. It's something else. You look at the idea of meeting someone new and feel a weight, as if there were already too many people, as if there were no room for anyone else. The space is filled. There's a number of people you can truly carry. It's not many, and maybe you've already reached it. When this happens naturally, because you invested in bonds that matter, it makes sense. You already have what you need. But sometimes this number gets small, not because you filled the space, but because you reduce the space to not run risks. The second form is a calculation you don't even notice making. You think about accepting an invitation, and before deciding, you're already adding up the cost, how much energy you'll spend, how much vulnerability you'll need to give, how much disappointment might come. And you look at the sum and think, not worth it. Some people calculate because they know their own limit. They know the value of their own time. They choose where to invest. Others calculate because they've been charged too much already, and now everything seems expensive, even when it's not. The third is when you feel every new person is too much. It's not laziness. It's not tiredness. It's saturation, as if the system were already working at its limit, and any new entry destabilizes. You concentrate everything on the people who are already there, because diluting this among many people seems like losing depth. But sometimes it's not about preserving depth. It's about avoiding situations where you might fail, where you might be rejected, where you might have to show yourself, and you feel this before understanding it. All 3 can happen at the same time, but there's always one that commands, and you recognize it by what you feel in certain situations. An invitation arrives, an opportunity for connection appears. And even before thinking rationally, something has already decided for you. It might be a tightness in the chest, a desire to end that quickly, a physical need to get out of there, or the opposite. You stay calm, can talk, might even enjoy it, but choose not to take it forward because you don't need to, not because you're afraid. The difference is there, in what the body does when tested, but this has a price. A price that doesn't appear now, appears later, and when it appears, it's already hard to go back. This doesn't happen suddenly. It's gradual, little by little. You don't even notice. The first thing that disappears is the ability. Forming new bonds is like anything else you do. If you stop doing it, you forget how. It's not instant. It's progressive. You stop training that. And when you need it again, you discover it no longer comes naturally. You try to start a conversation, but it seems forced. You try to show interest, but it sounds artificial. People notice, you notice, and then you conclude you're not good at this. But it's not that you're not good. It's that you stopped practicing. The second thing is more subtle. You become similar only to those already close to you. Think similar, feel similar, see the world similarly. And this seems comfortable, but it's impoverishment disguised as peace. Because when you only live with those who already know you, you stop being challenged. No one questions your certainties. No one shows you another way of seeing things. And you harden without noticing. The third is the most frightening. Someone in your circle leaves, moves to another city, gets married, has a child, disappears. This happens. It always happens. You look at the empty space and think, they'll find someone. But then you try and realize you don't know how anymore. The attempts come out strange, you don't fit. And that space remains, empty, permanent. This isn't one-day loneliness. It's structural loneliness. It's when you realize you built a life that depends on few people, and if they leave, there's no way to replace them. Many people reach their 50s, 60s like this, not because they chose to be alone, but because they let the ability die. And when they needed it again, it wasn't there anymore. And the worst part isn't being alone. The worst is trying to get out of this and discovering it got too hard. Not impossible, just much harder than it would have been years ago. So the question isn't whether you need new people now. The question is, can you still do it when you need to? Or has this become something you no longer know how to do? Now you'll know the difference. The main criterion is simple and direct. If you can form bonds when you want, but choose not to, that's choice. If you can't when you need to, that's limitation. The difference is there. Choice preserves capacity. Limitation erases capacity. There are some clear signs. If this is choice, you keep the capacity working, even without always using it. When it's worth it, you can open up. You can show interest. You can initiate. And when someone approaches, you can respond. Or you cannot respond. But you can. If this is limitation, the capacity is no longer available. You want to, but it doesn't come out. You try, but you freeze. The attempts come out strange, and you conclude it's not for you, but it's not about being or not being. It's about having or not having the option. There's another thing that reveals it. Those who choose don't need to defend the choice all the time, don't need to explain, don't need to prove they're right. The choice is calm. It doesn't fight. Those who are limited defend, always, and defend by saying it's maturity, that it's evolution, that it's self-knowledge. But if you need to say this several times, maybe it's not as calm as it seems, and there's a simple test. That solves everything. When was the last time you let someone new truly know you? If you remember and it was a choice not to repeat it, that's fine. If you don't remember or it's been years, this is no longer choice. It's avoidance becoming structure, because choice can change. Limitation cannot. Not without effort, not without time. If this leaves you free to live the way that works best for you, it's healthy choice. If this traps you in a functioning you no longer know how to exit, it's crystallized limitation. And you know which one it is. You always knew. It's just that sometimes it's easier not to look. But now you looked, you saw, and you can decide what to do with it. If it's choice, continue. You know what you're doing. If it's limitation, there's still time. It's not easy, but there is. And the sooner you start, the less difficult it will be. The difference between the two is simple. One can change when they want. The other can only change if they face it. This was just one of the patterns observed in human behavior. Comment here what you thought of this topic and click on the video on the screen to continue learning and developing.